Sat on a fucking beanbag.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and I'm here to talk to you about a Leeds United based sponsor on the channel, teamwallart.com. The link is in the description. Worldwide shipping, and it's unbelievable, guys. As I've told you before, this is the sort of stuff that you can get from these guys. My favourites on the end here, accused of everything, guilty of nothing since 1919. You can get this one for $5.99 if you buy another one for $7.99, and I did that. I've got the one of Marcelo Bielsa here, a beautiful image, really good quality as well, by the way, and of course the title winning boys. Some really good stuff on there, guys. As I said, the link is in the description. I went to these guys. I love this sort of stuff, and they are Leeds United fans. Go check it out. Enjoy the video. One Leeds is now sponsored by One Football. One Football is a really classy app. You can get all of your Leeds United updates on this app. You can get all the transfer news, injury news, match day news, and it really is top quality. The most downloaded app regarding football on the site. So make sure you go check it out. The link is in the description, and I hope you enjoy the video, guys. Hey up, mate, how you doing? Welcome back, everybody, and we are back here with One Leeds, me and Brownie, and we're back here to deliver you the Arsenal preview. Leeds take on Arsenal in London, our favoured city, this weekend, and yeah, it's a big one, and I think it's more of a big one to Arsenal, to be quite honest with you. A lot of people asking where the music's gone. Just when me and Brownie are ready, you know, when the stream's all right, we just get straight on into it. But thank you so much for joining. Brownie, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. You all right?
Not too bad, mate. I've got I've got the One Leeds merch on, which is heading to Brownie as we speak right now. So if you want to check that out, that's below.
I've just moved house, haven't I? So I've not got my office or anything set up yet. So I can't wait till I'm sat properly at a desk, perched on a beanbag.
That's it, mate. That's what you need. You need that beanbag. You know, it knackers your back. Honestly,
living the dream. Living the dream, mate.
Right, Arsenal. Where do we start? I guess the best place to start is team news. Leeds United today, we've heard from Phil Hay about Calvin Phillips, which we're going to touch on in a little bit. But I guess the best place to start, Brownie, is Arsenal. Two massive players out for the Gunners this weekend. Mikel Arteta revealing that Thomas Partey in central midfield and Kieran Tierney, Ricky Hatton, the left-back Ricky Hatton is out. What are your thoughts on that?
It's ironic he's missing, isn't it? Old Scrappy Doo from Ellen Murd when he was let me at him, as he were moonwalking back to the changing rooms. Yeah, it's key, definitely. Is it a fact if you don't want to see Alioski, or does he know that Rafinha's up against him? To flip the coin on that one. But yeah, it's going to be probably Cedric at left back maybe for them now, which, I mean, Rafinha, I don't think he'll be scared of any fullback, but if he's running at their second choice, it only bodes well.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know what happened with them last time. I think they've switched Bellerin to left back and Cedric's gone to right back. I think that's how they've done it sometimes when the fullback's out, which is really interesting.
I mean, with Arsenal, it's a weird one. Like Aubameyang was on the bench. They've played with Aubameyang and Lacazette both on the bench. Arsenal's a bit of a weird. You never know who's going to play where. It's a bit like sometimes Nketiah plays and they have like Aubameyang, Lacazette. They'll then. I mean, obviously, I know Willock's gone to Newcastle, but there'd be times where they just throw players in, like that our favoured Smith Rowe, our hero that got us promoted with his Huddersfield goal. He's been thrown in now and then. They're quite a tricky one to really work out, but if anybody can suss out who's going to be playing where, it'd be Marcelo.
Of course it will. Pazuriel, thank you so much. I think that's Norwegian currency. Who's this strapping Brownie fella? This is Brownie, my... Now sort of part of the channel. Well, he's part of the channel, which is great. Brownie on consistently just to give me an alternative point of view. It helps me out as well. And I think we've got a good question here. Connor Brownie, do we reckon Bielsa will buy Harrison at the end of the season, thinking squad, and also we get him at a reasonable price? Your thoughts, chaps? What we'll do, Mark, is we'll come to that at the end, mate. I'll tell you what, I'll note that down. Harrison question. That's when you know you're important. I'll stick that down there. But ultimately, Pizzurial as well, thank you so much for your donation. But with regards to those two, I think it's massive, and Arsenal fans are reacting in a sense of, for goodness sake, sort of thing. It seems like since the last time we played Arsenal, they've improved. We've improved. I think they've sort of got a bit of a talisman in Emile Smith-Rowe, Brownie. Is he worrying you at this moment in time?
I wouldn't say worried. The biggest worry for me is, and I looked at it today, it's just the whole London thing. Like, I was really confident, and it sounds daft going into an Arsenal game confident, but I was looking and I didn't really realise how bad this London hoodoo was. I mean, since our last win in London, we've had 2 points, right? And our last win was in 2017 in London.
Is it QPR? Was it Roof?
QPR, when Roof got a hat-trick, and you just think there's got to be something behind that, because our away form is good. Anywhere else, our away form is good, but in London, 2 points since 2017. That worries me more than Arsenal, to be honest. Just to get over that.
Do you think weirdly enough, it's like, I know it sounds really stupid, and it can be as basic as this, but it's almost like we get on the bus. We've got a 3, 4, 5 hour journey down to London. But and you know, Brownie, I can't even. I'm trying to think of stupid reasons of what this hoodoo is about. But you know, we go to Bristol City, we go, you know, we've been to Norwich and put in good performances in our recent history. So I don't really understand what it is.
Well, even you look at Wembley, when we've played at Wembley in recent years, that 96, 3-0. Doncaster in the playoffs, 1-0. It's just a London thing that we just can't seem to overturn. And what a way it would be to do it at the weekend, first year back in the Prem against Arsenal.
Yeah, definitely. Someone's just put there, it's a soft southern air. I think I'd agree with that. So the last 2 times, Brownie, and I wanted to bring in this sort of the last 2 times, not just the last time. The first game in the FA Cup, I think it was Arteta's one of his first games. I think it was definitely his first home game. We were very good in that game, extremely good. We had the first half, and it was sort of classic Leeds that season where, you know, we create so many chances, and, you know, we should have probably profited more from those chances. We did very well, but we should have profited even more. And I think that FA Cup game, and I always like to talk about it in this realm, really. This is how I've spoken about it with Everton, and this is how I'm going to speak about it with Arsenal. We've played them twice. If it was a boxing match, I don't think we'd be losing that boxing match right at this moment in time. I think that last game, we'll touch on that next, we're very unlucky. And that FA Cup game, it was a game of 2 halves, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good analogy to have about the boxing. I mean, I can remember being at that game with my brother, and obviously we're still a championship team, and that was the moment where we thought we can compete in the Premier League here. And I remember being with my brother at the game, and that first half, as daft as it sounds, it was the old someone put a ball on for Arsenal, because it was literally all Leeds that first half. I think Harrison played on the right-hand side of that night.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
And it really worked really well. And I just think it was just the chances that we missed. I think we hit the bar. Alioski put one just wide. There was a lot of ball retention, and then it just needed that final finish. And obviously they got the scabby goal early on in the second half, and it was classic 1-0 to the Arsenal. They just killed the game really well, to be fair, that second half. But yeah, first half, like you say, a boxing match, it would have probably been stopped. And that was when we were a championship team. And obviously,
Brownie, we had a few out as well. I know they had a few out, but the difference is when Leeds have a few out with our depth and Arsenal have a few out with their depth, it's on a different platform, really.
I think people forget that night Robbie Gotts played centre midfield. That was our centre midfield that Robbie got, and we still run and riot.
It was Brownie Mellier's debut as well, I think.
It was, yeah. And that was the night where he was spraying diags left, right, and centre, and people were thinking, "Who is this guy?" But yeah, it was really good. And I think when you look at the Arsenal games down the years, we've never really. Obviously, you go back to the years when they used to come to Ellen Road and win 4-0 all the time, and Henry had celebrating every corner of the ground. But before then, the last 5 or 6 games have been really close games. The FA Cup game, obviously the 0-0 at Ellen Road, the FA Cup, I think about 2011, 2012, where Snodgrass scored the penalty. And then they got their dodgy penalty in injury time to force the replay. They've all been close, edgy games, which is quite surprising with the gulf in class between Leeds and Arsenal down the recent years. Because let's be right, they've been in the Champions League for 20 years on the trot. I know they haven't been recently, but where we've been to where they are, to say that the games have been really close, it bodes well.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good point, actually. Even when we were down there, and I think it was Snoddy who put the penalty away, won it, and then Fabregas got that penalty in the last minute. And we have always been, it's always been tight games, and maybe against I don't know, a Man United or a City or whoever, even down the years when we've been out of the Prem, it's we got the Tonkin 3-0 from Manchester United. We got obviously hammered at the Etihad, didn't we, with Michael Brown against Yaya Toure. But against Arsenal, it's always been a relatively close game. Even when you look at the 2-1 at Ellen Road when we were in League One and Bradley Johnson rockets it into the top corner.
Yeah. And that was obviously the replay from the dodgy Fabregas penalty. And you have the other FA Cup game where it was the Henry night, where Henry had his return, and that was only 1-0. I mean, that game was set for Henry to score the winner and it'd be 1-0. But they have really been tight. Yeah, it was. Yeah, Thompson right back. Yeah, and you just look at the gulf. You're talking Thompson, Henry, and it's 1-0. So it'd be good to go up against them for the first time in... I can't. We're ahead of Arsenal in the league table. We're going into the game ahead of Arsenal. That hasn't happened for a very, very, very long time.
No, at all. I mean, they are a top club, top four. I mean, they are a top four club, aren't they? I think they're just on a bit of a lull at this moment in time, and I think it's always key to recognise with Arsenal that the amount of money they've spent, and we wax lyrical about this sort of stuff every single week on this channel, but you've got to take it into account. Arsenal really are. I mean, what they spent on Partey, what they spend. I mean, you were saying it as well, Brown. The amount they spend on wages per week. I think you said something like Aubameyang and someone else for about 600 grand a week.
Yeah, Aubameyang and Willian, just under £600,000 a week. I mean, it don't even worth thinking about. But that is why I think you started the show with the pressure being on Arsenal massively. If they don't finish in Europe, which I don't think they will, they're in trouble. It has the hallmarks of how we ended up spiraling out of control. You just simply can't spend that money and not be in Europe. It's just not sustainable.
No, I mean the last time we played them as well, Brownie, and this is a really interesting point, and this is something that me and you spoke about off air. Listen, that entire game, we were the better team. It doesn't matter if they had a man sent off. That man sending off, and you brought up a really good point, it actually hindered Leeds massively. Arsenal went into a complete low block. I think they had one counter-attack in the entire game, which was when Saka went through. Aside from that, even if you take away that red card, Pepe and Alioski, if you take away that red card, I think 11 on 11, we beat them, because that first, I don't know when he got sent off, but that first part, that first phase, we were all over them.
Yeah, I think it was just into the second half, if I remember rightly, he got sent off. But you're right. I mean, we hit the woodwork 3 times. I think Rafinha hit it, Rodrigo hit it, Bamford hit it.
Yeah.
And when that red card, after the red card, they just seemed to think, we're getting battered, we're going to sit, we're going to defend, and we're going to leave Ellen Road with a point. And in the end, that's what they did. But up until that red card, we were still the better team, and even after it, we're still the better team. But it just made them even more defensive. And like you said, they were going through a bit of a lull, and they were just happy to get back on the bus with a point. But that red card, I think you're right. It sounds daft, but sometimes playing against 10 is harder, because all the pressure is then on the team with 11. You're expected to win. You're expected to get that goal, and the team with 10 will just wind down the clock, sit in, like you say, they're getting a low block. And they just say, right, come and beat us then. And obviously we were inches away from winning it, but not quite getting there.
Do you think with Arsenal, that they are statistically the dirtiest team in the division this year, and by a country mile as well? I mean, they've had a ridiculous amount of not only red cards, but yellow cards as well. Is there something there? And listen, we know it happens in football. It doesn't happen as much anymore. But we saw it with Alioski, we saw it with Pepe. We know he's come out already. Alioski said he can't wait to go up against his mate, which I find hilarious. But that you can get at them, can't you, mentally, this lot, because they're ill-disciplined.
Well, yeah, I didn't know that. It was an interesting fact. I didn't know that they were the most ill-disciplined team in the league. But I think when you look at the red cards, the red cards do seem daft. Like the Pepe one, what's he doing?
Petulance,
There's no need. It is. That's exactly the right word. Petulance. So mentally, you can get under the skin, and I think it's more so that Arsenal are used to being up in around the top 4 or 5, and they're nowhere near it. So even more mentally, petulance creeps in because they're underperforming. So I think that petulance comes from their league position as well.
Do you think that, obviously, I'm not saying it's directly from Arteta. I'm not saying that. But do you think, as player, Brownie, you were an ex-football player, is it one of them where you feed into your manager's emotions as well? You sort of know the pressure's on him and sort of they go that extra yard to try and win a game, which can sometimes work against them.
Yeah, I think you can look at it both ways. I think sometimes, how can I put this without sounding harsh? Players will down tools as well. Players can get the manager the sack. Our friend Frank Lampard, it was vocal about how they got Andrew Villas-Boas. All the players just gave up, and funnily enough, all the players gave up on him as well, which was ironic. But I think you can, mentally, you can get attached to a manager as well. Like if a manager's right with you, you'll think, right, I need to go that extra yard to help him. So it can work that way. But for Arsenal, I don't know, the petulance, I think, stems from where they are in the league position. They know the pressure is on them because these big contracts, bonuses and stuff, they'll have Europe attachments to them. And if they don't, then they're in a whole heap of trouble at Arsenal, to be honest. I think it comes from the fans as well. I mean, there's a big saying, be careful what you wish for. They hounded Wenger out for a good 2, 3, 4 years. They wanted Wenger out. They've been nowhere near since he's gone. So I think the pressure's magnified from the fans because Arsenal are a big football club. They are. In fact, they've always been up there, and they're not now. So the ill discipline can creep in.
Yeah.
Look at Leeds when Leeds started to spiral down the positions. I think you could probably look at our discipline. And I think remember Viduka. Towards the end of the season, we went down. He got a red card. He got sent off. We missed him.
It was Bolton. Yeah. It was either we needed a point or we needed results to go our way, and we got smacked, didn't we? And he got sent off.
Yeah, and it's just discipline because you're used to being right up at the top, and you're not quite there anymore. So you start to lose your head. I mean, it's like with footballers when they get into the end of the careers, the legs can't do what the brain can do anymore. So you start to lose your head a little bit more. So it's that petulance creeping in, I think, purely due to the fact that Arsenal are not competing where they should be.
Yeah, 100%. Completely agree. And like you said, Brown, it's the first time it's going to be sort of 10th versus 11th. And this weekend, Leeds go in as, well, I would never say favourites, but Leeds go in as the team above the other team. And it's us against Arsenal, which is massive. And I think there's been so many improvements in this Leeds United side since we last played Arsenal. We talk about the defence. I mean, I remember doing a preview with Robbie from Arsenal Fan TV, and he was saying, we can definitely get at you with your defence. And Leeds are obviously leaking so many goals. Ironically, that game was 0-0. But that's been patched up now. We've got Rafa in full flow, which they've not experienced yet. I'm looking forward to this one, mate.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I think from an Arsenal point of view, with Leeds, I mean, we said it when we were in League One. We got the draw at the Emirates. We narrowly got beat 1-0 with the Henry goal. Down the years, we've been a pain in the arse for Arsenal. We really have. We've stopped them winning the league twice, is it? When Hasselbank scored a header, 1-0, stopped them winning it. 3-2 at Highbury, stopped them winning it. Even if you go back to the FA Cup, when we won the FA Cup, we always seem to, for Arsenal fans, Leeds must be a bit of a niggle because we always seem to do them over at their worst possible time. And right now, Arsenal can't afford to lose. They're sat in 11th behind a newly promoted team. The newly promoted team has a game in hand. They can't afford to lose many more points because they do need to make Europe.
Yeah, and quite frankly, from an Arsenal point of view, and this is no disrespect to Leeds, but we are a newly promoted side. I mean, it's quite embarrassing for them, isn't it? They seriously need to start pulling up trees, and they need to start doing it quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you think, Connor. If you were Arteta, would you go for it, or would you be cautious? Would you just think we need a win, we need to go for it, or if you're playing Leeds, going for it can kill you a little bit because obviously you're open the other way. So how would you play it if you were Arsenal?
Well, I mean, we always say this, don't we? I mean, I do think, Brownie, there's a certain way to play against Leeds, and I think there's been a lot of clubs this year who've shown that that is the blueprint. Your press is out wide, you play three at the back, and it's not as easy as that. But if you're disciplined and you're mobile for the game, and your attacking players have a good output, then you can beat Leeds. And let's be right, this Arsenal team has got abundance of quality. Aubameyang, Lacazette, like you said, in Nketiah sometimes don't even make the squad. Then you've got Emile Smith-Rowe, had some really good numbers this year. Saka, who's an extremely good talent. So, I mean, if I'm Arteta, mate, I'm going for it. But I don't know about you as well, mate. I'll bounce that back on you. I don't get the vibe from this guy that he's definitely improved them at the back. We know that. We've seen the numbers. Arsenal have definitely improved. And I think that was sort of starting, when we played them last time, Arsenal solidifying at the back. But it seems to be he's got it right at the back. And in football, this does happen. You get it right at the back, but you don't get it right at the top. And it works like that, doesn't it?
Well, for years, Arsenal have had that thrown at them that they've not had a good defence. So maybe they've gone into it and he's right, I've got to solidify the defence, which he has. And then you forget the other end of the pitch, which wins your games. So, like you say, if you have them attacking players, I mean, we were looking at the goal scoring charts when we got Bamford and we're talking about how many goals he's got. Aubameyang and Lacazette, how many have they got? So they've like you say, they've solidified at the back. But going forward with the abundance of money that you didn't even mention Willian then. I mean, there's players that you just come into your mind that you forget about, and you just think, well, you need to let the reins off a little bit if you're Arsenal, but you just don't get, like you say, you don't get that vibe from Arteta that the reins will be off. So I imagine it'll be a cagey game.
Yeah, I think so, and I do think it's probably going to be. I see it as really similar to the last one, mate, and I see it as similar to the FA Cup game, where it's going to be a goal to us, or they're gonna scrap it 1-0. That's how I don't massively see a big goal game. I think we've got it sorted out at the back at this moment in time, and that it brings it, and they have as well. I need to add, but I need to bring this in as well. We've seen today from Phil Hay that he believes that out of absolute nowhere, to be quite honest with you, Brownie, after Calvin Phillips has turned around and said on Instagram, I think he said it he might have said it on Twitter as well, he said it on a couple of social media outlets, that he's fine for Sunday. Phil Hay has come out today and tweeted that he's doubtful, which normally is, I mean, it's never a good sign, is it? It's normally 75%. You probably not get on the pitch. How do we work around that? And how would you change the lineup? Because I think this is going to be a really, really big call for Marcelo Bielsa.
It is. It could. How he changes it is where the game's going to be won for me, because you're right. We have solidified at the back, and I don't think you can take striking out of that back four and put him into the midfield, because then you are disrupting a back four that's been playing a few games together now and looking quite comfortable. You're then breaking it up again. But then if you don't do that, the question is, who do you put in that hole to block? Do you drop Click deeper? He's done that before. Do you drop Click deeper and maybe put Roberts in the hole? I don't know if Hernandez is fit. Do you say, no, we're sticking with the back four and we're going to twist it around in midfield? Do you let Dallas be that anchor? It's a big decision who he puts in that hole instead of Phillips if Phillips doesn't make it, because you're right to mention the attacking power that they have got, and they have the international footballers all the way across. But for me, I wouldn't change a back four when it's performing so well. And I don't think, as much as I love him in the back four, I don't think Strikes cut it centre midfield. I'm sorry, I just don't think he does. It's a completely different ball game in there. I mean, he got dragged off after 20 minutes at Villa. I just think we've been much more wide open. I think he played there against Palace. We conceded 4. I just don't think him in there works for us. And I think we lose him at the back when we do that.
Brownie, you know what it is, mate? And we're accustomed to this as Leeds fans now. Versatility. At the end of the day, you don't get many centre-backs who are as competent as a centre-back as they are in central defensive midfield. We've only started realising
I said it the other day, didn't I? The other day, things are going too smoothly. Things are going too smoothly. What can go wrong? Bang! Phillips is doubtful. It's just the way. It's just Leeds, and it's just the way. We'll always have some form of issue, some sort of adversity. We've overcome bigger things, but Phillips is a huge miss if we don't have him on Sunday.
I think he's a massive miss because as much as I don't think he's been in the top 3 for me, best players for Leeds this year, I think he's the most important in how we play. I think he's the most important in how we move. I think you lose him, we lose a lot of how we start, a lot of how we break oppositions down. And I think the problem when you take Phillips out, Leeds United naturally have to move a lot of the components around, which naturally disrupts
psychological thing as well. Like being in dressing rooms when you get the team sheet through from the other team, and you don't have them. It'd be like getting the Villa team sheet, no Grealish, getting Man United, no Fernandes. Back in the day, getting Arsenal's, no Vieira, no Keane. He's that big name player for the team. A bit like last season. Hernandez was our game play. He was our star man. If a team got a team sheet and Pablo Hernandez went on the team sheet, instantly that dressing room lifts. And I think that's the same thing for Phillips for me this year. He's broke into the England team. Like you say, I don't think he's been consistently our best player this season, but he's our big name player. If you spoke to fans of oppositions who haven't really watched Leeds as much, you say who's Leeds' best player, they'll say Phillips. Just because of who he is, his name. So I think psychologically as well, I think Arsenal getting the team sheet through and no Phillips being on it just gives them a lift and a boost, and that's before they've even got on the pitch.
So so let's say I've got this awful feeling that he's not going to be fit. And listen, if he's 75% fit, we've seen it before with Phillips when he's tried to soldier on. He soldiers on. We've seen the patterns happen before, especially when it's a muscular injury. He'll limp off after 20 minutes and then he's out for another 4 or 5 weeks. So we don't want that. Yeah. So if he needs to step out, he needs to step out. But Brownie, if you're moving it around now in the 4-1-4-1 system, I'd argue Shackleton at right back. And I like Shackleton at right back. We were speaking about it before. I think he can bomb on. In this game, he's going to get loads of space as well with Rafinha. Ayling at centre back.
He'd give you a lot of energy, Shackleton, putting him right back. He'd give you a lot of going up and down. I just think, I just think when Ayling's not at right back, we lose him going forward. But I know we've got to shuffle things around, so we can't have everything.
Brownie, in that respect, then, if you're keeping Ayling at right back, what are you doing at the back? Because we know what he's going to do. We know what he's doing. We know he's moving strike in central defensive midfield. We know he's doing it.
I mean, it sounds bonkers for me to even go against Marcelo Bielsa, but I would keep the same back four. I really would. It's working. That back four is working. It's clicked together. And like you say, if he moves Stroik to centre defensive midfield, he has to put Ayling centre half.
Yeah.
There's nobody else fit to do the job. So then,
what about? I mean, we talk about mobility in that central defensive role. We talk about being able to play a pass. We talk about a player being defensively astute. Do you reckon Dallas could fit in that role?
I was just thinking that with versatility and everything, they will only play one up top. They do the 4-2-3-1 Arsenal, don't they? They have the one down the middle. So in that respect, you could let Cooper go man-to-man with him, and then you have Dallas floating around. Kind of, I don't know why this just popped into my head, but like Xavier Mascherano did it for Liverpool. He wasn't very tall, and then he went to Barcelona and played centre-half for God knows how many games. So it's a similar sort of thing, but it's just the whole height thing for me with Dallas centre-half. But like I said, Xavier Mascherano wasn't exactly tall, similar build, and he went and did it for Barcelona and won Champions Leagues.
To be honest, Brownie, I was sort of thinking more of the 4-1-4-1 structure, but now you talk about Arsenal in the 4-2-3-1. It's going to have to be 3 at the back, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I mean. So Ayling is gonna come round. Looks, it's gonna be interesting. I think Phillips will play. I do. I don't think he comes. I don't. Well, yeah, we're going again. I don't think he comes out on social media and says he's fine if he's not. But then again, it's that old thing with Phillips. He plays, he comes off after 20 minutes and he's out for another 6 weeks. He's done that before, hasn't he? So it might be taken out of his hands. You don't know. But I agree with you, mate. He will move Strike into centre midfield. We just know he will. That's what he does.
Yeah, 100%. And listen, yeah, I don't know how to look at it from that respect, because I do think it's interrupted, and it's such a shame that we can't, we were speaking about this Arsenal game, we were thinking, if we're fully fledged, and Rodrigo's out and Koch and Llorente, but just this fully fledged side now that's just got a really good result against Palace, wouldn't it be great to just go to, because I think that team with Phillips in and go to Arsenal and win. I thoroughly believe that. I think with the vein they're in at this moment in time, but I think
I mean, like you say, we're missing Phillips, but they're missing two big players for them as well.
True.
But we come back to the whole squad depth situation, don't we? They've got players coming out their ears that can step in and play at a good level. That's kind of like our European chat the other day. It's just the squad depth for us, isn't it? If we lose one or two players, we're really up against it.
Yeah, and if we just had a positional man who could come in, if you literally had the likes of a Forshaw on the bench, who could literally just slip in, we can keep the system the way it is. We don't have to move anybody around. But the problem is, it is having when
bang on. When one player gets injured for Leeds, you see it during games. 3 people have to change positions. Like you say, if we just had player for player, he's out, right? He slots in. Makes it so much easier, but when's it ever been easy for Leeds?
But I think the thing is, though, with this game, even if Phillips is out, I've still got a weirdly good feeling. And I think all of that is rooted, I'll be honest with you, in Rafinha. Because I
had a good feeling until I was looking at them games in London. 2017, mate. We've had 2 points since 2017. I can't quite get my head around it. We're in 2021 now. It was Thomas Christiansen was manager. We've had 2 changes of managers since then. It
is.
I think it'll be a draw. I personally think it'll be a draw on Sunday, and I think that's a great result.
It's an unbelievable result. And I mean, I'm going to go personally, mate. I'm going to go with a 1-1. I'm going to go with a 1-1. I reckon Bamford's going to get it again, and I think we'll score first, and I think they're going to get a late equaliser. What do you reckon?
Just when you said that, I thought 1-1. I thought 1-1 as well. It hinges on the Phillips situation for me, because I really don't want to change that back 4. I really don't.
He plays with win. I'm certain of it.
Yeah, it's a different game if Phillips plays. Massively different. Just have to wait for that team sheet. It's just like I said. There's always something. There's always an issue going into a game. It's how long ago is it since we've had a run of games where there's been no issues, no injuries? You know the team, and you can just sit down and relax and look forward to it. Whereas there's just always something around the corner with Leeds. Always.
I don't think Bielsa's ever had a fit squad. I think it's July 2018. He's never had a fully fit squad.
And it just echoes how well he's done with the squad. Because, I mean, it wasn't the greatest squad when he took over. It wasn't the greatest squad, let's be right. He's got players playing well above the stations. And to say he hasn't had a full squad since then just echoes how great of an achievement it is, what he's achieved.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant, mate. But yeah, I think that's about it, guys. I think we've surmised everything pretty, well, I wouldn't say pretty well, but we've given our best. If you wouldn't mind getting it in the comment section below, guys, on exactly what you think. Let us know what you do if Phillips is out. I mean, would you put Dallas in there, Shackleton, Ayling even? I think I said to Brownie as well, just do not take Strike out. I I'm just trying to think of any other scenario if I'm taking strike out. But let us know in the comment section below exactly what your score predictions are as well. Check out Team Wall Art as well. Brownie, we're getting them bare walls covered in Team Wall Art.
I know, mate. Tell me, I'm gonna. We had that comment to go back to, didn't we? Who was it that commented about Harrison?
We did. Harrison's question. I can't exactly remember what it was, but I think it was something about us going back and buying Harrison. Do we think that's going to be
Harrison? I think 10 million it's agreed of now, isn't it? Yeah, I think that's a done deal already, to be honest. I think that's cheap. When you think of Man City, obviously they're in European competitions and they've got the English quota to fill and stuff like that. You see English players going for big money just to fill that quota for the European competitions. So I think 10 million's cheap, and obviously he's been at Leeds 3 years now, hasn't he? And he always plays. I think if you look at a fully fit squad, I think Harrison does start. I think he still starts for Leeds when we've got a fully fit squad. So I think it's a good bit of business for me.
Yeah, his ceiling's massive. That's why I'll be honest with you guys, he frustrates the absolute life out of me sometimes, because his ceiling is so high. His potential is clearly through the roof, and I think that's what City see. I think that's what Leeds see. But he's getting better and better. He's adding more and more goals, and I think I said this in the last show. I don't know if you guys caught it. If you haven't, go check it out. But I think Rafinha's helping Harrison. I think he's seeing someone who is at the top of his game on the other side of the pitch, and I think Harrison's just trying to match that. But in terms of value, yeah, I mean, he never gets in that City squad, and I'm sure there's some sort of obligation in that contract. There has to be.
Yeah, I think we were meant to sign him for 8 million this summer, weren't we? And he got changed to 10 million. I think it was like the Costa deal, where we had the obligation. We had to buy him if we got promoted, which we did. So I think the Harrison, I think it's already done, to be honest. I think he is a Leeds player at the end of the season for 10 mil.
Yeah, definitely. I'd agree with that. So I hope that answers your question, mate. But yeah, we'll probably do a Q&A as well at some point, so you guys get to know my counterpart Brownie here. We can do something like that. But let us know in the comment section below exactly what you think, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this. It's been another near 40 minutes. God, we're absolutely these should be turned into podcasts. But yeah, and we will see you soon, guys. Thank you so much, Brownie. Cheers for joining, mate.